Good evening, council, staff, and members of the public. May I have a mover and seconder to call the meeting to order, please? I have Councillor Fisher and Councillor Thompson that the regular meeting of the Council of the Township of Springwater of December 18th, 2024 come to order at 6:30 p.m. All those in favor? That has carried. Please stand for the singing of our national anthem. Councillor, are there any disclosure of pecuniary interest this evening? Not seeing any. At this time, I will turn to the clerk for our question period.
Thank you, Mayor Coughlin. There have been no question period submission for tonight's meeting.
Are there any members of the public wishing to ask questions to council this evening? Not seeing any. At this time, I'll move on to our mover and seconder for our minutes, please. Councillor Garwood and Councillor Alexander. That the minutes of council listed here and be approved as presented. 1, the minutes of the special meeting of council of November 26, 2024. 2, the minutes of the special meeting of council closed session of November 26, 2024. 3, minutes of the special 2025-26 budget meeting of November 27th, 2024. 4, the minutes of the special 2025-26 budget meeting of December 3rd, 2024. 5 are minutes of a regular meeting of council of December 4th, 2024. And 6, the minutes of a special meeting of council of December 11th, 2024. Council, are there any questions or comments on these? Not seeing any. All those in favor? And that has carried. We'll now move on to our budget. May I have a mover and seconder for this, please? Councillor Fisher and Councillor Moore. That the report from the Director of Finance regarding the adoption of the 2025-26 budget and business plan dated December 18th, 2024 be received, and that the proposed 2025 tax-based operating budget, proposed 2025 water operating budget, proposed 2025 wastewater operating budget, and proposed 2025 capital budget be approved. Are there any comments or questions on this? Councillor Fisher?
I wonder if I could ask a question through you to Director Bedard. With the money coming back from the OPP, could you speak to the amount left over for us, please?
Director Bedard?
Sure. Thank you, Mayor Coughlin. Through you to Councillor Fisher. The remaining reduction from the OPP financial relief that's being provided is $147,330. So 147,330.
Councillor Fisher?
Sorry. Possible to propose an amendment where we take that money and put it towards the tax levy?
Yes. Let's look for a seconder for that. Councillor Moore? And that would be do you have a motion or just that is the motion? Were you able to capture Clerk Marshall?
Thank you, Mayor Coughlin. Based on the amendment that I've heard, I have that the full amount of financial relief from the province regarding municipal police services in the amount of $432,330 be included in the 2025 budget.
And Deputy Cabral and Councillor Thompson.
Thank you, Mayor Coughlin. Actually, through you to Director Bedard, could you revise the number then for the tax levy based on that additional $147,000, where we would then be sitting? Thank you.
Director Bedard?
Thank you, Mayor Coughlin. Through you to Deputy Cabral. If the motion as amended was passed, the tax rate township portion would be 5.78% increase. Blended increase would be 4.06%.
Counselor Thompson?
Through the chair to Director Bedard, so would there be other options for this money? What plans did you have for this money if this motion had not come forward?
Director Bedard?
Thank you, Mayor Coughlin. Through you to Councillor Thompson. Without the amendment, the difference would flow through to the surplus at year end. So it would impact the 2025 year end surplus or deficit. Given the discussion throughout budget deliberations regarding the amount of debt that we're taking on, it would be my recommendation that this surplus would be applied against any debt that seemed to be agreeable through budget deliberations, therefore reducing the amount of debt we have to take on and reducing the debt requirements and the annual repayment of such. There are other options. We know it costs $3 million to police the township in 2025. It just so happens that the province is chipping in or reducing that amount by $433,000 approximately. Without a change to the OPP billing model, we have to assume that it will cost $3 million or $3 million plus next year to police the township. If we were to reduce the OPP levy based on the full financial relief, we may be looking at a tax increase in the future. We just have that uncertainty where we know it costs $3 million to police the township. It just so happens that this year the province is providing that relief to make it more affordable to municipalities. Without a change to the billing model and without a change and without that continued financial relief, we would be looking at that $433,000 plus increase in 2026.
Counselor Fisher?
Thank you, Director Bedard. Of course, we don't really know what the OPP fees will be in the future, but my rationale is that we do know that people need to save money right now, and I think given the present economic climate, I think it would be smart just to give it back to the taxpayer. Ultimately, this is taxpayers' money, and I think that we're not in the business of spending their money or shelving it for further expenses. I think it's well suited. It's found money at this point, and we should be giving it back to the taxpayer.
Counselor Garwood?
Thank you, Mayor Coughlin. Just on the topic of budget, obviously, while we're speaking to it, of course, we've significantly pushed many projects off, and I'm not going to rehash the past. I've already shared my concerns in regards to that, and I don't disagree with portions of what Councillor Fisher is indicating in regards to ensuring folks can save money today. But we also know that next year is going to most likely be more challenging than this year's conversation was, especially because of the reductions that were put in place by our council to ensure we provided a reasonable increase to our residents. So I do have concerns about next year. So then through the mayor to Director Bedard, understanding we don't know what that OPP total will be, and the province has not indicated anything beyond the 2025 budget year. In theory, the $147,330 in addition to what was already included in the 25 budget could be applied or could be held and applied to whatever that increase would be in 2026, correct?
Director Bedard?
Thank you, Mayor Coughlin. Through you to Councillor Gar, with Council's direction, that is something we could consider, placing that $147,000 in a policing reserve and then holding that to offset any potential increase with the 2026 OPP costs.
Counselor Fisher?
I see where Councillor Garwood is coming from. Unfortunately, I see it as we may be paying more tax. We may in the future, but what you're essentially saying is just keep the tax now. So I'd much rather not tax citizens now. We'll deal with that in the future. But if it's six or one half dozen the other, I would much rather give it back to the taxpayer in the present year. If we do see an increase in the OPP fees, rather than taxing people now and keeping this money, I would much rather give it back to the citizens, and we'll see what the future turns out to be in terms of expenditures. But people need this money now, and I don't think it's ours to keep. It belongs to the taxpayer.
Councillor Alexander?
Thank you, Mayor Coughlin. Through you to Director Bedard. If we had done our budget in January, say, as some municipalities do, so this directive would have come through prior to like our deliberations, would this just have automatically reduced the rate because the OPP is almost its own, well, it is its own line item. I know it is all lumped in to the actual tax rate, but it is its own line item. So would this just conversation not even almost be up for discussion had we'd not started budget deliberations and this relief didn't come partway through?
Director Bedard?
Thank you, Mayor Colgan. Through you to Councillor Alexander. If we started budget deliberations in January, this would just be a line item showing the 2025 policing cost to be approximately 2.5 million. That said, the conversation we had throughout budget deliberations, I imagine, would be different given we wouldn't have the financial pressures that we faced earlier, and I imagine decisions were made might be different.
Councillor Garwood?
Thank you, Mayor Colgan. Just more of a statement, and it'll be my last one on this matter specifically. I do have worry with sitting here saying we'll deal with something in the future. Unfortunately, I think that's what has been occurred in recent years and many past years, in not only our community, but others. And we don't know what next year's going to bring. But what we do know is most likely expenses are going to continue to rise. We have sat here for 3 budget cycles now, and each cycle, the same issues come up. Costs are rising, or sorry, expenses are rising, and therefore those costs are being put onto our residents. We don't know a lot of what's going to happen next year, but it's almost certain that nothing's going to get cheaper. So anyway, I would hope that we could be forward thinking and planning for the future and put ourselves in a better position so we aren't just dealing with it in the future, because it's going to come around sooner than later. And again, I worry we'll be in the same, or if not a worse position in another 12 months.
CEO Schmidt?
Thank you, Mayor Colgan. Just to maybe echo Councillor Garwood's comments, and maybe to go a little bit further, what we do know is policing is $3 million. And we also know that this is a one-time relief of $432,000. And council can make their decision as to how they wish to apply that one-time relief. But we do know policing is $3 million, and it's likely not to get any less. So again, the decision is yours. I would suggest that the comments, as Councillor Garwood mentioned, it's not going to get any cheaper. And so putting some money aside for future relief is something that council should be looking at. Again, we've had this conversation through this budget cycle. The burden is not getting any less next year. So I put that in front of council for your consideration.
Thank you, CEO Schmidt, and thank you, Director Bedard. I do appreciate your knowledge on this, and I think that understanding that it is a one-time, that we are not, there's been no communication suggesting that there's going to be any change to this. If we can take it, and right now we've separated it, apply some this year, apply the rest next year to provide that relief, because if we apply it all this year, we're just going to have a 3% increase next year that we'll be battling over. So I saw Councillor Fisher and then Deputy Cabral.
I fear the mentality that we'll deal with problems in the future by taxing people today. I mean, it's a bit of a socialist approach, frankly. I think that this is the taxpayer money. Everyone up here is a taxpayer. Everyone out here is a taxpayer. This belongs to the taxpayer. Yes, it is relief, but we should be giving this relief back to the tax-paying citizens. We're not their bankers, right? So this is the right thing to do. If we do see an increase in the future, which we already have, we will deal with it through taxation. But what I'm viewing is keep the tax money now so that we can deal with it in the future versus tax in the future. To me, it's six or one half dozen the other. The main difference is the taxpayer gets to enjoy a lower tax rate for the next year, and I think that's money in the pocket of the constituents, and I think it's the right thing to do. I'm not trying to play banker for the community. So,
Deputy Cabral,
I'm going to pass, Mayor Coughlin. Thank you.
any further questions or comments on this? Before I call the vote, I think that when statements are made that not saving for tomorrow is financial planning as well. So I think that by ensuring that we do have a reserve, that we have healthy reserves, that we continue to put money away, it's not that we want to taxing someone today, taxing someone tomorrow. It's the same tax. It's the same rate player. So for me, I won't be supporting the amendment. I think that the plan and how our CFO and our CAO have brought this forward, I think is in good planning. So I will not be supporting this amendment. Deputy Cabral.
Thank you, Mayor Coughlin. I'm just going to point out that the estimate of $285,000 was originally included in the reduction. So when we looked like we were getting some back, we as a council decided to provide some relief with that reduction. And then as time progressed, we find out there's a little bit larger of a reduction. And now we're saying that maybe we should hold that and move it forward. I'm going to have to agree with Councillor Fisher. If the number had have been that at the very beginning, that would have been the number that we would have been using. And I think we would have probably done what we did, which was utilize the relief from the OPP costing to reduce the taxation on our residents. So that's where I sit. Thank you.
Councillor Fisher.
Just one last comment. Taxing them now or taxing them in the future is not the same. Time there's time value of money, and that value in money in our constituents' pockets, they can do what they want with it. They can invest it. It's not our job to keep it and hold it for them. Really, at 0% as it devalues. So if we're talking about financial planning, we can't only think about ourselves. This is their money, and we should be giving that back to the taxpayer. We're here to run services, not only build up reserves. So I disagree. I'd like it to go back to the taxpayer, and I think the taxpayer in this present economic climate, I'll even say with the news coming out of Ottawa, not to make it federal, the debt that we're in, I really think that this should go back to the taxpayer. So be the last comment on it from me.
Council, we're voting on the amendment. All those in favor? That has carried. So we have the main motion as amended. Are there any further discussion on the main motion as amended? Not seeing any. All those in favor? And that has carried. We will now move on for our action reports, and mover and seconder, please. Councillors Moore and Thompson. That action report 7.2 and 7.3 be received, and that the recommendations contained therein be approved as presented. 7.2 is our MOU with the South Central Regional Snowmobile Clubs, and 7.3 is the Canadian Housing Infrastructure Fund. Any comments or questions on these? Not seeing any. All those in favor? And that has carried. And mover and seconder for information reports, please. I have Councillors Thompson and Moore. That the report items listed herein be received as information. Our Building Services Monthly Report, Bylaw Activity Report for November 2024, Winter Operations Plan for 24-25, Corporate Credit Card Report for September 24, Corporate Credit Card Report for October of 24, Vendor Check Register for October of 24, and Vendor Check Register for November of 24. Any comments or questions on any of these? All those in favor? And that has carried. And we'll now move on to our verbal reports, and I will turn to Deputy Cabral for a county update. No county update. And municipal reports, municipal updates. And before I do move to members of council, I would like to take a moment here. I'd like to acknowledge and take time to recognize our library chair, our Library Board Chair Adrian Graham, who is the recipient of the 2025 Ontario Public Library Association's James Bryan Medallion. The James Bain Medallion is awarded to a library board member who has demonstrated outstanding leadership in governing public libraries in Ontario. This annual province-wide award recognizes and honors the best contributions and efforts of board members who govern public libraries. Adrian will be presented with this award at the Ontario Public Library Association in January in Toronto. On behalf of Council, Adrian, I would like to offer a heartfelt thank you for everything that you and your board members are committed to and dedicated to for us. Thank you for your leadership, skills and knowledge which support the library system for our residents. Congratulations on your award. And I will turn to members. Yes, there we go. Councillor Alexander and then Councillor Garwood.
Sorry. I just wanted to speak to the Hillsdale tree lighting a week and a half ago, I guess now. Great event, tons of turnout. As always, a great group of volunteers who put this on. So thank you to them, to the firefighters who went in there to raise their money, selling the Christmas trees. It was just all around a really fun event, a little chilly, but I guess that's what the Christmas events are about, is the snow. So.
Councillor Garwood.
Thank you, Mayor Coughlin. Yes, it's been the December of holiday events in Springwater. There's lots of them. I wanted to congratulate the Elmvale Sleigh Ride in the Village, which occurred on December the 6th. Also, over the past week or so, I've had the opportunity to attend the Anton Mills various events, whether that be their Christmas tree lighting, their Santa Claus parade, as well as the Minising tractor parade and tree lighting. I'll let Councillor Thompson speak about those, but congratulations to those CRAs. I also wanted to speak about an event that's actually happening in Elmvale this Saturday. It's called Kilometers for Kindness. So lace up your sneakers and get ready to walk, run, or jog to make a difference in the community. Funds raised assist women and children experiencing homelessness and domestic violence. So the event will take place at Heritage Park in Elmvale. It is a 5-kilometer run or walk or jog, and registration opens at 10:30. So I'll be attending. I know the mayor will also be there. The event is run by a youth of the Elmvale community, and so I wanted to commend her for her efforts. I believe so far the event's raised nearing $4,000, which is absolutely incredible. So I wanted to congratulate her and the Kilometers for Kindness group. In addition, on December the 6th, I had the opportunity to attend the King Charles III Coronation Medal ceremony. The ceremony is designed to, and the medal is designed to recognize the outstanding contributions of members of our community. That evening, Dan Clement, a lifelong resident of Elmvale who has devoted decades to serving his community, was honored with the award, hosted by MP Doug Shipley and MPP Doug Downey. Dan's impressive community service includes his tenure as past president of the Elmvale Maple Syrup Festival and Elmvale Fall Fair, and Springwater Township's Ward 1 councillor for 2 terms. I commend Dan for his continued commitment to the Elmvale community, and to all Springwater residents who were honored that evening, including Mayor Coughlin, who also was nominated and received the King Charles III Coronation Medal for her decade of public service to the Springwater community. So I wanted to congratulate. I'm sure I might get in trouble later for mentioning it, but anyway, I wanted to congratulate Dan, Mayor Coughlin, and all Springwater residents who were nominated and received this award. It was a pretty special honor to attend.
Thank you, Councillor Garwood. Councillor Thompson.
Well, first of all, thank you, Mayor Coughlin, for recognizing Adrian Graham and the library board. I have the privilege of working with these fine people on a regular basis. They do an outstanding job, and they're a real credit to our community. I'd also like to recognize the Elmvale and District Food Bank. I'd like to start by just reading a little thank you that they have on their website. They state, "Thank you to everyone in our community. We are so thankful to everyone who has taken time to donate, time to organize food drives, time to donate financially, and time to volunteer. Everyone has helped us to help others this past year. Together, we are making a difference in our community. Thank you. I had the privilege of being with other council members in the food bank this week, and we had a wonderful opportunity and wonderful visit there. While there, Manager McLean mentioned more than once how generous of a community that we live in. It's commendable that our food bank is managed and run all by competent volunteers. A great achievement for sure. In fact, there is so much interest in helping, they have a waiting list for people wanting to join. I agree, we live in a very giving community. I extend my thanks to the Minising and Anton Mills Recreation Associations for their festive events. I would call it the Christmas Marathon. We do a lot of things over Christmas, and the recent successful food drives. I add my thank you to all of our volunteers, and a special thanks to the Springwater volunteer firefighters who seem to be everywhere. The volunteers of Springwater keep demonstrating to me that Christmas is far more than what you can buy in a store. Keep up the good work. From my family to yours, have a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Thank you, Councillor Thompson. And before I do go to Councillor Fisher, I would also like to acknowledge and a very special thank you to Norm Godfrey. We were able to not only match, but double the donation of the township. This is on behalf of Tribute Communities in Stone Manor Woods. So thank you very much, Mr. Godfrey, for the support of our food bank. Councillor Fisher?
All right, just wanted to let everyone know that winter icing at the Midhurst Pavilion in Dorn Park has started. It started this last week, and we had some real luck. I think we got up to nearly an inch of ice, which is amazing. We gave most of it back over the last 48 hours, so unfortunately, but there is still some there, and I believe the temperature dips this evening, so it'll start again this evening, if not early in the morning. The goal of the volunteers is to before Christmas, so that that residents can be skating on it. So the facility's in good shape and ready to go. I just wanted to say too to the rest of the councilors and watching, you know, a few times last year, the volunteers and I, you know, were there at 9 o'clock at night, and it's always nice to run into people using it who aren't necessarily from Midhurst, from other communities. You know, ran into so a lot of young lads from Phelpston, and you know, we encourage them because they're actually really fun, nice gentlemen out there, and so I really encourage people from different communities in Springwater to come and use it. You know, I think the volunteers are all Springwater people, and it's nice when Springwater people are using it, not just people from our neighborhoods, right? It's there for everyone. So as a matter of fact, we commented to each other that you know, they were such nice people there that we kept telling them, come back, use it anytime, right? So if they're using it, it's frankly, it's usually kept in better condition, and we like it. So anyway, so I encourage everyone to come out, hopefully around the Christmas holidays, and make use of the ice.
Not seeing any further updates. Do we have any notices of motion this evening? Or items for future consideration? Move on then to our bylaws. Mover and seconder for the bylaws, please. Councillors Garwood and Alexander, that the bylaws listed herein be signed and sealed by the mayor and clerk, the 2024-110 Snowmobile Trail Use Land Permission Agreement. All those in favor? That has carried. And a mover and seconder for the confirmation bylaw, please. Deputy Cabral, Councillor Alexander, that bylaw 2024-111 to confirm and adopt the proceedings of council of the regular meeting held on December 18th, 2024, listed here and be signed and sealed by the mayor and clerk. All those in favor? That is carried. And before we do adjourn, I would just like to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a happy holiday. And I hope that our staff have a little bit of disconnection and take some time and recharge, and look forward to everything that we're going to accomplish in 2025 together. So Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Mover and seconder. Councillor Garwood, Councillor Moore, that the regular meeting of the Township of Springwater does adjourn at 7 o'clock to meet again at the regular meeting at January 15th, 2025, 6:30 p.m. All those in favor? And that has carried. Thank you.